Howdy, it's Jim Arado, and this is late November 2022. We're in Columbus, Indiana, and I found an old school Noble Romans pizza. One of my favorite pizza places ever. We had one of these in Owensboro growing up, and I loved that place. In fact, when I was a little kid, we ate there a lot, and up through about high school, we still had it. I can't remember when it closed down. The building is still there. It's been different businesses over the years. It was a coffee shop. I think it was another pizza place. But I really miss Noble Romans, and I've come across them, like the Noble Romans Express or the little, gas station kind of businesses. But this is the first time I found just exactly an old school kind of Noble Romans. The inside reminded me so much of the one I grew up going to in Owensboro. And I was happy to find this place. Real sweet workers there. A lady working there told me that they do get a lot of people that come through just for nostalgia's sake. And that's the front door looking in. The floor, the walls, the decorations, everything reminded me of what I remembered growing up. Even that, I remember that being there. And I could still find these in southern Indiana. I think there's still a few scattered around in southern Indiana, but it was a bigger deal in my memory growing up. So we stopped here. We got some pizza, and they were still. It was still the same. I always loved their breadsticks and cheese. And over there on the right, they've got a little area where kids can kind of walk up some stairs and watch them toss the pizza. And that was definitely a feature at the one in Owensboro that I grew up going to. There was another one in Evansville, Indiana that I remember going to quite a bit. Over by Willie's model shop. And I'm sure it's no longer there. I know there was one in the Owensboro Mall several years ago now. And it was, kind of an edited down version of a Noble Romans, but it was a Noble Romans. And I was happy that was there, but it didn't last long. But this one is there. They're in Columbus, Indiana, and I will be going back frequently. I'm just happy to see this place. They were doing a pretty good business. It looks we were there kind of at an off hour. We left a little bit before 5, and people started coming in then, and I was glad to see that. I know one of their trademarks. They used to have a projector, and they would show like cartoons or old movies. You'd go in, you'd eat pizza, and they would have like an old movie playing on a projector against the wall, and that was pretty cool. I don't know if any of the Noble Romans still have that, but that was a cool feature that I do remember. And they had the cool little games. And they had the toy machines, gumball machines, candy machines. They had a few of those, which are starting to get a little retro-y too. Yeah, there they are. I still love those two. I think they're cool. But yeah, Noble Romans, I was just glad to find this. I know Madisonville, Kentucky, they had a Godfather's pizza up until about a year or two ago. I think COVID took it out. And that was the last Godfather's that I really knew of. Of course, there's Billy Bob's over in West Virginia, I think near Barberville, and that's a great place to go to. But this is definitely, I'm going to tell some of my buddies about this, and I could see us making a road trip. They had several of the old merchandise that they used to sell at Noble Romans, including some of those cool old pictures. And man, I remember those, I want to say from the early to mid 80s. And those were really cool. I forget you'd get a pizza and a picture of Coke, and you got to keep that plastic picture with the monster's face on it. And I do remember on their commercials, they used to have like a mascot who was like a big Muppet, like a big Chewbacca-like Muppet. I asked them if they sold those because they had a ton of them, and they told me that they didn't sell them, but a lot of people had brought them in to kind of donate back to them, just so they could kind of display them there. So they had a case, and they had a few more of those pictures up on the walls. So I was glad to see those, and of course I remember that old Noble Romans light shade, that kind of glass there. That's really pretty, and glad to see that. And this was, Noble Romans. It's fairly simple, but I always loved their flavor. I loved what they did, and like I said, it's kind of nostalgic for me personally. And my wife and I, for well over a decade now. Oh yeah, there's the breadsticks with cheese. Usually around Thanksgiving, sometime before Christmas, we always come to Indianapolis, and there used to be a couple of them peppered through Indianapolis, and we would make a point to stop at Noble Romans at that point. Yeah, check out that pizza. But there just aren't many left. In fact, this is one of the last like real, you know, really a Noble Roman store. So I was glad to see it. Yeah, Noble Romans, Columbus, Indiana.